Representative Ted Deutsch is one of the most active people trying to condemn Representative Ilhan Omar. He says he's outraged by her statements, and he keeps characterizing them as saying that she's asking for Jews, she's accusing Jews of having dual allegiance. She never said that. She said, I don't want to have a requirement that I have a dual allegiance in order to serve on things like the Foreign Affairs Committee. So Ted Deutsch sees that there's now a disagreement on this issue, so he goes to his natural allies. He goes on Fox. Now wait, I want to remind you, Ted Deutsch is theoretically a Democrat. So he goes running to Fox Business in this case, Maria Bartiromo, who is one of the most conservative anchors on television, and they go and have this discussion. And listen to what Bartiromo says while Deutsch is on air. Watch.
If you're on the Foreign Affairs Committee and you're trashing Israel, obviously the first thing is step off of Foreign Affairs because you obviously can't be fair.
So trashing Israel, in other words, disagreeing with Israel, you cannot be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Now remember, Ilhan Omar was worried about a pledge of dual allegiance. So there's Maria Bartiromo saying you must have allegiance not only to this country, but to Israel. Otherwise, you should be kicked off the Foreign Affairs Committee. She's proving Ilhan Omar exactly right. Ted Deutsch, a Democrat, is on there. He can disagree. He never disagrees during the entire segment. He agrees with Bartiromo all throughout. So what happened? Well, I thought you were worried that that she was being anti-Semitic. It sounds like you're actually worried that she will not agree with the right-wing government of Israel. Now that's kind of funny how you accidentally betrayed your actual opinions there.
Well, I want to bring something else up regarding her logic here, right? So her logic is, well, she obviously shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee because she can't be fair. She's trashing Israel. So she's not trashing Israel. She's being critical of something that's been longstanding in the United States, and this pressure to be loyal to the government of Israel, regardless of what they do and how they act. But more importantly, if we follow her logic, Maria Bartiromo, you are very good friends with Wall Street executives, right? So you have a bias there. You can't cover the business news fairly, and we actually have evidence of that. My favorite thing to do with Maria Bartiromo is go back just prior to the economic collapse of 2008, when there were concerns about adjustable rate mortgages and the housing collapse, and how she completely belittled those arguments and said, no, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's great. Everything's great. You should resign immediately.
She doesn't know anything about business.
Of course
She's there
she
to be a conservative hack. So, and to back up what Anna is saying, and I'm going to get to Deutsch in a second. She says, in order to be fair, you have to support Israel. I believe that's the opposite of fair, where you have to have a predetermined outcome, or maybe you just judge the facts, or maybe it depends on what government of Israel, right-wing government or left-wing. I supported Rabin when he was going for peace, and a terrorist murdered him, and then the right-wing took over in Israel. I wanted Rabin to win. So no, it doesn't matter. You have to support the right-wing, otherwise you're not being fair. Absurd. Now let's get to Ted Deutsch. Listen to what he says at the very end of the interview and about what they might do next with Ilhan Omar. Watch.
When you suggest, Maria, the idea that because I am a supporter of Israel, that I have some dual loyalty to Israel, that's enormously problematic, not just because it's unfair and unacceptable.
Yeah, no, I think we're agreeing with each other. I'm just wondering why you're not going the extra step and getting her off of Foreign Affairs, Congressman.
Well, as I said, Maria, right now, let's do this.
Yeah,
tomorrow, tomorrow we'll have conversations about foreign policy and the impacts and why statements that suggest that our important relationship with Israel is founded on anything other than the strong shared values that we have.
All right, so two things out of there. One is he said, she's suggesting that I have dual allegiance. She never said that. No. There's Congressman Ted Deutsch lying about it again and again and again with his friends on Fox, okay? And then he says, let's do this first, let's condemn her. And then tomorrow we'll talk about foreign policy. You're asking me to kick her off the Foreign Affairs Committee. Maria, don't let the people in on our game. Because once we call her an anti-Semite, and people voted yes on it, well, then it's gonna be easy to turn around and go, well, you want an anti-Semite on the Foreign Affairs Committee? Well, by definition, we have to kick her off. I mean, you all agreed she was an anti-Semite, and we can't have that. So now we gotta remove her Because he doesn't agree with the right-wing government of Israel. Oh, look at how that game was played. So Ted Deutsch, since you're admitting here, you never disagreed with Bartiromo, then I think you're biased. And I don't think you should be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Why are we not having a conversation about Democrats who say they will support Israel no matter what? What does that mean? I'm from Turkey. I like my home country, but I don't support it no matter what. It depends, doesn't it? Are they doing cross-border bombings? Are they oppressing Kurds? Is it a right-wing government? Is it a left-wing government? It depends. It doesn't mean you don't like the country. It doesn't mean you don't support the country. It just means you're allowed to disagree with it. But if Deutsch is saying, no, if you quote unquote trash Israel, next thing we're gonna do is kick you off the Foreign Affairs Committee. Thank you for proving Ilhan Omar correct. You are asking for dual allegiance. She's not saying you have it, you're telling her she must have it, otherwise you're gonna come after her career. So you proved her right, and I think that makes you unfit to be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I demand a resolution condemning Ted Deutsch, and I assume the Democratic leadership will be working on that right away. On the go, don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.